One night, we had actual lobster from Maine combined with our Omaha Steaks bacon-wrapped filet mignons. And I was all for the lobster until I realized, and the way I realized this was they showed up and I heard them moving around, that they were still living in this styrofoam box with the ice packs and everything. And so she had to cook those because I don't deal with anything that's still moving around. I understand that's how they do it, but I've never actually gone to the time and trouble of meeting my lobster dinner before the inevitable took place. But it was good. And then, on another occasion, we had crab cakes from Maryland, not cooked and frozen, but just sent fresh to us, and we cooked them right in the oven and paired those with some ribeyes. On another day, we had these bacon-wrapped shrimp, and I can't remember where she got that from. We had several different kinds of, they were bringing packages of food for a while there, Christmas week. But the main event, the piece de resistance, or I should say the pizza de resistance, homemade Emo's Pizza, Brian Last. Homemade Emo's in Louisville, not St. Louis. Ask me how I did it.
How did you do it?
I'll tell you how. I'd like to hear it. Here it goes. They sell the Provel cheese, and they also, a beloved, wonderful fan whose name has been lost to history a couple of months ago, sent me for my birthday, I think it was, sent me a gift box of Emo's pizza sauce and salad dressing. And I hadn't used the pizza sauce because I was meaning to get some of the cheese. Well, Stacy did it for me. 6 pounds of Provel cheese in 8-ounce containers. And we got a fresh pizza crust from Papa Murphy's over here because crust is crust. And spread the Emo's pizza sauce on, and I browned some Jimmy Dean sausage, and we put some green peppers and some onions on that thing, and covered it with a heaping helping of that Provel cheese that is the gooeyest, meltiest cheese in the world, and so tasty, and baked a homemade Emo's pizza, and I got most of it. She got what she could wrestle away from me. But that was for Christmas Eve. We had Emo's Eve. You don't sound impressed. Now, we had a real pizza, not that kind of cardboard, lack of toppings, generic stuff that y'all wheel out there up in New York. We had real St. Louis pizza.
You have never spoken of this Emo's pizza and had it sound appealing to me in any way. It sounds disgusting. And I want nothing to do with it.
Well,
we have the best pizza in the world, and it's recognized by everyone. Everyone.
Yeah,
New York, New Jersey, Long Island. I mean, that's it.
Well, that doesn't take into account St. Louis or the greater metropolitan Louisville area.
No, it takes into account St. Louis and the greater metropolitan Louisville area. It just doesn't rank them.
It doesn't rank them because that stuff that you sell up there in those little kiosks, what do they call them? Bodegas.
We don't sell pizza. I don't know where you're getting a pizza in a bodega.
Is all those little slummy storefronts with exhaust fumes belching in the front door from all those trucks and buses and taxis that you got up there. Gets all over the crust. That's why all the crust looks positively brown and muddy. What? We've got pure crust up here. And can you think of all the toxins, the airborne toxins that are infiltrating all those New York pizza places? And then not to mention the people hurrying and scurrying in and out the door all the time, bringing in pathogens.
Buying pizza.
And buying pizza. Well, they call it pizza. And spreading their disease and their pestilence everywhere. I'm surprised the whole thing is not a petri dish for the next pandemic, New York pizza places.
You know, real quick, as I'm trying to understand this bizarre pizza palate you have, you've never spoken on the show about your early days with pizza. Was there a pizza shop in Louisville when you were growing up? When did you first start eating pizza? Did you like it early on? Did you have any issues like with an ice cream cone where you didn't want to touch it because you were going to eat it and your hand touched it? Please talk about your experiences with pizza in the early years.
Well, I had no experience with pizza really in the early years because nobody know-how delivered any type of food out here to the castle in those days as far out as we were. So there was no call Domino's or whatever. And there were Pizza Hut and Pizza Inn, and I had obviously had pizza, but there was not really any specialty shops for pizza back then, except for a few of the major chains. There was one place that a friend of my cousins used to run that was a kind of a homemade, not a chain, Italian place. They had pizza and all kinds of things like that. We would go there every once in a while. Pizza wasn't a big deal back then, but around about the late 70s, when I started going to Evansville, that's when, as I've mentioned this place, we started going to the Rocka Bar there in Evansville. All the people in Evansville and that surrounding area know what I'm talking about. They got two locations, but the original one has been there since the 60s probably. And that's where we would go after the matches to get something to eat before we came back to Louisville. And Miss Jarrett and whoever was driving her went back to Nashville. We'd stop there, and they would keep part of the dining room open for us a little bit late because they knew we were coming from the matches. And that was incredible pizza. So what I started doing was I started getting one there, and then back then a fucking large pizza from this place was like $6 or whatever. So I'd get 3 of them pre-cooked where they weren't cooked all the way. They'd wrap them up, and I would take them home, put them in the freezer, and then when I got back in from whatever show we might have gone to, I would stick one in the oven, and I'd have 2 or 3 more before the next week when we would go back to Evansville and I'd get some more. An old man named Casalavecchio owned the place, and he ground his own sausage and lovingly formed his own pizzas and put them in the oven himself. And they were and every piece, because they didn't cut them in those big slices like you crazy people up there, and then they flop everywhere. They cut them in squares like normal people do down here.
Give me a fucking break.
In St. Louis and Louisville.
No. I'm not letting you get away with this. No.
And every square had this beautiful sausage ball sitting on top of it. They were evenly placed with love by hand. They were amazing.
Look, Sicilian pizza.
And then I've loved pizza ever since.
Sicilian pizza is wonderful, especially when it has enough sauce, which is a problem with some of the places out there, to be honest. Grandma pizza is fantastic.
Grandma pizza.
I'm not even going to try to explain it to you because we have different pizza palates here.
Yeah.
However, pizza done best is a circle, or even something that kind of resembles a circle. If we're really going to talk about some of the artisans.
It's a circle, but you cut it in square pieces.
No. You have triangles. You get crust, sauce, cheese into a triangle.
But the best pieces are the ones in the middle where you got no crust on the edge and you can eat the whole thing.
You don't want any crust?
No.
Why wouldn't you want crust? It's delicious.
The crust is only there to hold up the cheese and the toppings. I'm like you to tell me that you eat the naked crust around the ring around the outside of the pizza. That's like a pizza bone. You eat everything up to the edge of the crust there and then leave the pizza bone on the plate.
No, that's the part where you're hopeful in a perfect world with a good pizza place. There's enough sauce near the rim, near the barrier, that you can eat some of that crust that remains with the sauce. So it's not just the bone of the pizza, as you put it. But yeah, I eat the whole slice. When I get a slice, see, maybe this is the problem. You've never had pizza good enough to eat the entire slice.
No. What the fuck's the matter with you? I've had plenty of good pizza, but there's no reason to eat just cooked dough.
Well, you eat the pizza. I was going to say, you don't just like take the cheese and the sauce off the top and leave the bottom.
No, you eat all of them together. But the ring, that's what you hold on to, is the crust around the edge. There's no toppings on. That's the handle. That's the bone of it. You're like you're eating a chicken leg. You eat the meat off and put the bone down on the plate. Well, you eat the meat and the toppings and the goodness off the pizza, and you put the crust down, the bone, on the plate. Don't you know these things, Brian?
I disagree, but let me ask you a question. I'm curious, because I know you've liked Domino's in the past, especially when you were on the road.
Well, I didn't say I liked it.
You ate it.
It was available on the road, yes.
Late at night, you're in your hotel room, you could still get Domino's.
Probably one of the reasons I've had such problems with acid reflux after that.
And one of the great things about Domino's is when you are in that moment of desperation where you're ready for Domino's, it's the most delicious thing you'll ever have when it's fresh.
Yeah, because you're starving and it's the only thing available.
And the bread is good to the point where they started selling breadsticks and cinnamon bread and all these different bread combinations. So that's a little different than the average pizza bread, because Domino's is different than the average pizza. Do you eat that bread?
Well, you're talking about the breadsticks?
The crust. No, the crust of that pizza, of Domino's pizza. Do you eat that?
No, I don't eat the crust of any pizza.
Wow.
Because that's the handle by which you lift the slice of pizza to your mouth and eat it all the way down to the nub.
So what do you do when you get a square slice with nothing to hold on to, as you put it?
Well, then that's even extra good, because you get to eat the whole thing, and that's where it's thickest, and you get the most cheese and meat, which is, after all, why you're there and to begin with. Cheese and meat. Or meat with extra cheese.
Well, Jim, I have to ask, I'm not even going to go any further with the pizza stuff right now, because this could turn into a whole show long thing.
I may not talk to you anymore if you keep up.
But let me ask you this. Considering all this that you said that you ate, including making your own Emo's Pizza, did you gain weight? I mean, you've been losing weight. You've been in such great shape. Everyone saw that video of you and was raving about how good you looked. And now you ate all this. What happened?
Yes. Well, that's because for the first time in my life, Brian, I looked at myself in the mirror and I said, Jim, you could stand to gain a few pounds. And that's what I decided to do. I decided to gain a few pounds over Christmas. No, over the last 6 or 8 weeks, honestly, besides the fact that the weather's turned colder, I don't even sweat when I'm trucking that stuff into the post office or out in the garage or feeding the deer with the wheelbarrow in the back. I haven't sweated. I've been tired a lot of times in the evening after filling orders for 8 or 10 hours. I'm just going to have a sandwich and lay down, whatever. And I got down to 195 pounds from my former base weight of between 200 and 205. And I said, you know what? I got 5 pounds to play with here. So it's not often I can say that. So I didn't even talk about the dessert. Stace got me a cake. She got me white fudge covered Oreos and also a Patti LaBelle nanner pudding, which I'm still working on because I'm saving that for special occasions like nighttime. But a Patti LaBelle nanner pudding, so I've been on and some strawberry cheesecake ice cream. So I've been alternating those also. So I've got back up to 199, I'll have you know. I'm in shape, baby.
All right, well.
What do you got? Hey, we were doing a programming plug about 30 minutes ago.
I was going to say, though, now that you're in shape, you got to stay in shape.
Oh, I see what you're going for there. You're thinking now.
Now's the time.
Well, now that he's just a fat fuck, now that he just can't wear any of his clothes, now he's got to start exercising. Well, I'll tell you what, I don't know if it's come to that drastic of a point yet, but I'll guarantee you one thing. I know where to go if I want to exercise, if I want to work out, if I want to get in shape. Echelon. Our friends at Echelon got you covered coming and going, folks. Whether you're trying to reach your fitness goals, trying to work out, trying to feel better, they've got you covered on the equipment, the instruction, and the people to egg you on and give you that extra push and potentially punish you if you don't meet your goals. Because we got to run a tight ship here, folks. But Echelon, it has world-class instructors like Nicole Griffin. She was married at one time to Peter Griffin before Lois, and also Michael Brown, but they choreograph classes with music from your favorite artists, and you've got a community, like I said, of hundreds of thousands of people who can give you that extra push, and they all live in your immediate vicinity. They'll be knocking on your door if you don't follow through with things, folks. Anyway, Echelon is the affordable way to get the workout equipment, the workout community, and an instructor's motivation right in the comfort of your own home. They've got thousands of live and on-demand classes with great music. With Echelon, you can work out anytime, day or night, and crush your fitness goals. Well, you got to be strong to crush stuff. So work on your hands first. Just pick your class, climb the leaderboard, which we've mentioned is a challenge in itself. That fucking leaderboard, it's high and it's steep. But you can cheer each other on and give it your all with Echelon certified fitness instructors who are supportive, engaging, and fun. But you don't have to get engaged to any of them. If you're already married, they'll just help you work out. Also, Echelon has a full range of affordable workout equipment, including stationary bikes. Don't expect to get anywhere, but they will give you good exercise. Smart rowers. People will come to your home, put you in a boat, and row you around a lake. And they're smart enough to get you back home. You're not going to disagree with me about any of this shit today, are you? They've got sleek fitness screens and the ever-popular and highly addictive auto-folding treadmill. It folds up by itself.
Safely.
Whenever it wants to.
Safely, not whenever it wants to. No.
No?
As directed by the user.
As directed by the user, this will fold up by itself once you give it the word. And boy, the way they're making these smart things these days, just don't tell it your bank account numbers or personal information. Don't talk to the treadmill, just instruct it on what to do every once in a while. But they're all connected. All these items, all these pieces of equipment are connected to provide the Echelon experience, which includes around-the-clock classes for the family with full-body workout programs. From your nose to your toes, it'll make your knees freeze, your liver quiver, and your spleen turn green. It'll keep you coming back for more. One membership covers a family of 5. If you do not have 5 people in your family, they encourage you to start procreating immediately to get your money's worth. But right now, for a limited time only, folks, my listeners can get up to $800 off the MSRP. And you can also get $800 off some of this fitness equipment if you text the word DRIVE to 818181. That's an exclusive discount for our listeners. Text DRIVE to 818181 and get up to $800 off. Message and data rates may apply. See terms for details.
You know, they say you have these classes with your favorite music. What if your favorite music's Mozart? Are there any classes for that?
He wrote some upbeat shit, right? And especially with those bass drums and all the, the various symphony pipe organs they had back in those days. It's some heavy shit. It's biblical.
I think I could work out to some of it, but are there actual classes for classical music fans? So you can ride your bike listening to Beethoven, Bach,
they said
Handel.
Music from your favorite artists.
Interesting.
And it maybe even Vincent van Gogh, Pablo Picasso, all your favorite artists. I don't know what they sounded like singing. I would actually like some Lovin' Spoonful. Could we play the Lovin' Spoonful's greatest hits while I am on my stationary bike?
There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I guess I could see you, the idea of you riding your bike to Do You Believe in Magic is pretty fucking funny if you
in a young girl's heart.
All right.
And it's, the thing is, they mislabel these things stationary bikes also, because I got one a long time ago and it didn't do me any good at all. So I sold it. And after I sold it, the guy that bought it from me said, "Oh, I love it." I said, "Well, I really didn't get any use out of it." And he said, "Well, what were you doing?" And I said, "Well, I got on it and it said a stationary bike and it never went anywhere." He said, "Well, how fast were you pedaling?" I said, "I didn't know you had to pedal because it said it was stationary and there weren't any wheels on it. So I just sat there and it chaffed my taint."
All right.
Anyway.
Well, it's my show, sadly.